Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're buying a home or refinancing and feel confused about all the terms being thrown around, lenders, brokers, loan officers, you're not alone. Today we're going to break down the differences between mortgage lenders, mortgage brokers, and loan officers. We're going to discover who they are, how they operate, and who you should turn to if you're trying to get the best mortgage for your situation. Now let's get started. Before we begin, I'd be remiss if I did not introduce the underwriter. Regardless of whether you're working with a lender or a mortgage broker, there will be an underwriter involved. The underwriter acts as the gatekeeper from whoever is actually lending the money, and it is their job to ensure that it's safe to allow the mortgage to move forward. So they review the loan application, verify all the documents, assess the risk, and then approve or deny the loan. The borrower doesn't really interact directly with the underwriter, but they play a crucial role behind the scenes. Okay, now let's discuss what a mortgage lender is. A mortgage lender is a financial institution, like a bank, a credit union, or even an online lender like Rocket Mortgage. They use their own funds, set their own loan terms, and underwriting the loan is usually done in-house. Some big players in this arena include names like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, like I mentioned before, Rocket Mortgage, and then your local credit unions. When you go directly to the lender, you're working with the source. They'll usually assign you a loan officer, which I'll explain more about in just a minute, and you'll be choosing from that lender's set of mortgage products. The point to remember here is that the mortgage lender offers their own loans and typically have more control over underwriting and approval timelines. Because it's all in-house and the process can sometimes be faster and maybe even a little more predictable. So that brings us to a loan officer. A loan officer is the individual you interact with when working directly with a mortgage lender. They're the person helping you through the loan process. They're helping you complete the application, maybe explaining the rates and terms. They're guiding you through the underwriting process as the loan progresses. This would be the person that's sitting in the bank in your local branch, like maybe in a cubicle or in an office that you walk in and are introduced to you when you say you want a mortgage. Loan officers work directly for the lender and represent loan products that their employer offers. If you go to Bank A, the loan officer will only be able to show you the options that Bank A has. They're not impartial, they represent their employer, but they can still offer helpful insights and walk you through the process. One of the benefits of working with a loan officer is that the underwriter may work in the same office, maybe just a few cubicles over. The loan officer and the underwriter may know each other. He will be very familiar with the few products that his employer has to offer and the way his underwriter likes to see files set up. This can be very helpful when setting expectations and ensuring a smooth transaction. So now moving on to a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker acts as a middleman between the borrower and potential lenders. They don't lend money themselves. Instead, they shop around on your behalf to find the best loan from multiple lenders. They typically work with a network of banks and mortgage companies and can often offer you a number of options that you wouldn't find just walking into a single branch. Now, different mortgage brokers are signed up with different networks of banks, so they may still have different options from one another. This is where it can get a little tricky though. The mortgage broker may have only recently signed up with a particular bank that is located, say, on the other side of the country. This means they're not very familiar with the loan products that that bank offers or the documentation required, or the underwriter who's controlling the funds. It may look like a great fit on paper, but as they start submitting the documentation, they may discover that this loan is more complicated than expected. They may also struggle to reach the underwriter at critical moments during the transaction since they've never worked with them before. So the point I want you to remember here is that mortgage brokers are not lending their own money, but they will have access to a wider range of products, and they can shop across multiple lenders to find better rates, terms, or even qualifying criteria. I want to make this part very clear. These are all generalizations. I've worked with loan officers for large banks who can't get the underwriter on the phone, who also happens to work in another state. I've also worked with a bank who have a ton of underwriters, but they're all in an office separate from the loan officers. Sometimes you can have a loan officer sitting in a bank dealing with an underwriter who also works for that bank, but this is the first time they've ever worked together. Conversely, I've had mortgage brokers who have worked with a particular bank and a particular underwriter so many times that they have each other's direct numbers. and are on a first name basis. It can go either way. You can have the pros and cons, but for informational purposes, I'm trying to make it very general in these situations. So who should you consult? A lender or a broker? So if a friend approached me and asked me, should I use a mortgage lender or a mortgage broker? The answer would be both. If you already have a relationship with a financial institution, then reach out to your bank. And if you happen to be a member of a group that has a credit union, like teachers or military, then reach out to them as well. And certainly seek out a recommendation for a good mortgage broker. You're not locked into just one. You can get pre-approved by each of them and then go with the best one for you. No matter which route you take, the most important thing is to ask lots of questions. Make sure you understand the costs and terms, and choose the loan that fits your future life, not just your current situation. So I'm curious, have you ever worked with a broker or a direct lender before? Drop your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear how that worked for you. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more real estate and financial insights, and I'll see you in the next one.